I've been thinking again about conspiracy theories, their pluses and minuses. Now, I know a lot of politicians are very scornful and journalists about conspiracy theories. They couldn't admit there's anything good about them. But they do have their good side. An interesting example was when I was doing an Arcanorium course on how to transform our boring everyday reality to make it interesting, exciting, to make the now rather special. One of the things that came up was an idea that there you are standing, being held up in a long queue in a supermarket, and you're getting a bit fed up of waiting. Then you remember that yesterday a tall, mysterious stranger approached you, said your name, and said, "You are a seeker." And you were puzzled, and the person said, "Only about 1 person in 50 is a seeker. It's a very important thing. And seekers will be recruited into the secret Illuminati." "Ooh, that sounds good. Can I join it?" No, you must never ask to join the Illuminati. They will approach you. In fact, on pain of death, you must never mention them to anyone. Nobody must know who is a member of it or anything about it. It doesn't exist. What I'm saying to you, you will not remember it. And so you look around while you're waiting and you realize that there's probably 1 or 2 members of the Illuminati here watching me. Of course, they won't give anything away, they look all quite normal. I wonder who it would be. Now, it wouldn't be that rather redneck guy in the t-shirt at the counter there. He wouldn't. Hang on, what has he just done? He has very carefully placed 3 6-packs of beer on the counter. 666. Is this a message? No one else seems to have noticed, but of course they wouldn't, would they? I wonder what he's saying. He's asking for a packet of camels. Camel. Gimel. The 13th path. Oh my God. The street opposite is East 13th Street. Good heavens. He's sending me a message, but I must try and breathe deeply. I must try and control my excitement. This is too amazing. I must just act absolutely not. And so your boring stay at the supermarket has become wildly exciting. And I think that a certain amount of conspiracy theories can do that. They can make life very interesting. But, of course, not everyone gets such positive value from a conspiracy theory. For some people, it haunts them, it dominates them, it becomes a great source of worry and paranoia. And they start locking up their house and taking the phone off the hook and listening out for signs that they're being tapped on the telephone and so on and so forth. So, what they're concerned about is negative conspiracies. Now, this is interesting to me because I can think of what seems like very obvious conspiracies. Take the example of medicine and big pharma. If you look up iatrogenic illnesses, in other words, illnesses that are caused by medical treatment, it's quite shocking the extent to which with side effects of drugs, things like that, how much sickness is caused by the very people who are trying to heal. And big pharma is obviously part of this conspiracy because if you look at how they try to clamp down, or they encourage governments to clamp down on alternative remedies, traditional folk remedies that should be available at very low cost and are relatively harmless because they've been used for years and years and years. It all looks very much like a big conspiracy, very negative, quite threatening. Now, I think there's a mistake here to focus entirely on people behind it, to try to think who are these evil people who are doing this, making a fortune of money while other people die or are sick at their expense. And I think it's a great mistake to focus only on the people rather than the system which creates it. And I'm talking about discarnate intelligence, if you like, spirits, demons. Now, it's always surprising to me that people who consider themselves to be rationalists find it very hard to accept the idea of discarnate intelligence. The idea that there could be consciousness, intelligence, will outside of a human brain. Because if I talk to a logical positivist or something about my sense of purpose, of will, my consciousness, I tend to be told that no, that's just a byproduct of a very complex information flow of information through my neural structure. And so the question that I raised in the Little Book of Demons was, well, if it's natural for complex neural structures to evolve towards consciousness, intelligence, because it gives a survival advantage, why shouldn't all complex information structures tend to evolve towards intelligence, consciousness, for its survival advantage? And so you see, something like the medical profession plus big pharma, that is a hugely complex organism. It's got flow of information, and the nodes of it are actual complex in themselves, human beings. So why shouldn't the medical profession and big pharma, why should any of these big social institutions or groupings, why shouldn't they themselves evolve a form of intelligence? Because it would give them survival advantage. Now, see, if you look at it from that point of view, it doesn't have to be an evil human being behind this conspiracy. It could actually be the spirit or demon of the medical profession. Now, as you know from planetary spirits and that each sort of complex like Mercury, Venus, tends to have both its good and its bad aspects. In other words, there'll be as an angel of Mercury and also a demon of Mercury. Now, it's pretty obvious what the angel of the medical profession is. It's all about the desire to heal humanity, to make people well, and to communicate good things. But there's also a demon in there too. And to give an example of how this demon could evolve, let's just consider a very oversimple example, which is 3 pharmaceutical companies, big pharmaceutical companies, all working on a cure for my arthritis and my benty fingers. Now, the first one spends a lot of money, years of research, and they come up with something which, well, it worked in the laboratory, but actually when they start selling it, it doesn't really work in real life. Very few people benefit. It's a flop. The second company finds a cure for arthritis. Tablets, you take them for about a month and gone. Your fingers are straight, no more arthritis. That's the end of it. Brilliant. The third company produces a drug which has a definite effect on arthritis. It definitely eases the symptoms, but unfortunately for many people it has bad side effects. For most people, either they get migraines or stomach upsets or their skin goes crinkly or something. Now, which of those 3 companies is going to do best? Well, clearly, unless they've got a lot of other products, that first one, a product which simply doesn't work very well, they won't do very well. The second company, which has produced something which actually eliminates arthritis, well, they've got a problem because they're actually eliminating their marketplace. Because once your arthritis is cured, you're not going to go on take those tablets. You walk away a healthy person. They've got a real problem there. But the third company, as long as it also sells other medicines to cure migraines, to cure skin diseases, to cure stomach upsets, they're onto a real winner because people keep taking their stuff because it has effects. But they also start selling all those other medicines to cure the side effects. So if you just think in terms of Darwinian evolutionary terms, survival of the fittest, it's actually that third company is the fittest, not the one that finds a cure. And so I think that a lot of the evil you see in the medical profession is not because there is a wicked person in which try to find causing that, but it is the system itself develops a level of intelligence which is self-seeking. It's looking after its own interests, and at times that conflicts with what human interests are. Now, obviously, for the medical profession, it couldn't forget about healing because that is important to it. If it heals human beings, then it is highly respected, as it is. So the medical profession, as I say, it has a positive spirit, an angel, which is healing people and making people healthy. But it also has a negative. And there's an example I gave of this in the past, and when I give it, people think I'm trying to defend tobacco. I'm not. I'm not for big tobacco anymore, big pharma. But I think it's very interesting that on cigarette packets, you get these negative messages. Smoking kills. You are damaging your health. Now, those negative messages are given to people very often. Someone takes out a cigarette when they're actually under stress or really quite vulnerable, and they've been given these negative messages. Now, just think, if you're in a hospital, what's the commonest phrase you hear in the hospital? It's, "You're doing really well." Doctors go round, and there's someone who's absolutely looks like they're on the last legs and they're clearly dying, and the doctor says, "I think the rest is doing you good. You're looking much better today." Everyone goes around giving positive messages because they know the value of the placebo effect and they know the value of suggestion. A doctor that went round saying, "Oh my God, you look sick. I don't think you've got long to go. Oh, you're killing yourself with this diet," and so on and so forth, that would be considered pretty poor. And yet the medical profession has got the government to insist on giving these negative messages, which surely will be making people sick as they smoke. Now, in the past, the tobacco companies, they used to put on their packets pictures of a healthy, rugged, outdoors man on a horse, the Marlborough Man. Well, what positive image, if you take up your cigarette when you're feeling stressed and you can almost feel that open air, fresh air ruggedness, surely that's going to help you, isn't it? That's going to counterbalance some of the negative effects. There was a time when at Eton College it was compulsory to smoke for boys hundreds of years ago because they thought it was such a beneficial thing and so good against diseases. So I just give that as an example how, for all the good intentions of doctors, and I'm not saying no doctor has ever been evil, because obviously there must be some, but basically it's not a group of people trying to see how they can make people ill so they can make money, I believe. And yet the system as a whole, the medical profession, definitely gains something if it can make more people ill, while keeping up the appearance of looking after their health. So that really is in summary, what I wanted to say is that I think conspiracy theories, they can be fun, but they can be very worrying. And people get absolutely hooked on trying to find who are the evil masterminds behind these theories, when actually in many cases it's not any individual that is behind this thing. There may be people making a lot of money out of it, but I think very often, even the people who are making a fortune, they think that they're doing the right thing and they really believe in what they're doing. And people don't realize the extent to which an organization, a big business company, a profession, something like the military-industrial complex, although it may consist of people who think they're doing the right thing, as a spirit, as a discarnate intelligence, it is actually serving itself. And serving itself means it has to keep up the appearance of offering benefits so that people respect it and think it's a good thing and encourage it. But at the same time, it's doing things which help it to grow like a cancer, and that is very often at the expense of humanity. So think again about conspiracy theories and think what might be behind them.